pedophilia and rape, and indeed other clergy abuse committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. So, and I will add that the blog post that actually existed at the time, June 2012, when I was falsely accused of the crime of blasphemous libel, these were blog posts about cases where Unitarian Universalists were charged, tried, and convicted of pedophilia and or rape. And my sources of information, some of them anyway, were newspaper reports about how these Unitarian Universalists have been charged, tried, and convicted and sentenced to jail terms and had served some years in jail for their despicable crimes of pedophilia and or rape. One of them was Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell of Massachusetts, and the other one was Richard Buell of First Parish Norwell in Massachusetts. And the reason that I blogged about these specific cases, amongst other reasons, but one reason was because this was public knowledge in the sense that it had been published in newspaper reports, the credible newspaper reports. Obviously, there would be court documents also backing everything up. So the whole, well, not the whole reason, but one of the primary reasons I chose to blog about those cases is because there was no question that these two Unitarian Universalists were guilty of pedophilia and rape and had been convicted in a court of law. So I was basically trying to avoid any slander or libel accusations by blogging about cases where it was unquestionable. But no, the Unitarian Universalist Association didn't really care about the truth and chose to falsely accuse me of the crime of blasphemous libel in an effort to intimidate me into removing blog posts about Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell and Richard Buell, and also to intimidate me into not making any more blog posts about other Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists and so on. The whole point of a cease and desist demand letter is not only to try to intimidate a person into getting rid of what they've already said or written publicly, but to also intimidate them into not saying anything more as well. I mean, that's what cease and desist means. It means stop. So, this is just outrageous, highly unethical, highly immoral, borderline criminal misuse of Canada's blasphemy law by the Unitarian Universalist Association in legal bullying intended to hide pedophilia and rape. So, that's just, again, one single example of how Unitarian Universalists cover up and deny clergy abuse. To say nothing of abuse committed by Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers and ordinary Unitarian Universalist lay people, sometimes prominent ones. I could provide some other examples about how Unitarians cover up clergy abuse. And I think I will. We'll come back to the child sex abuse issue. After I was falsely accused of violating Canada's blasphemy law by the Unitarian Universalist Association, I made 3 demands. I demanded that they formally withdraw that false accusation. I demanded that they publicly and officially apologize for that false accusation. And thirdly, I demanded that they must tell the truth about exactly how many Unitarian Universalist ministers are in fact guilty of committing such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, to say nothing of other serious clergy misconduct. So that was it, withdraw that false accusation, apologize for it, and disclose the truth about Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell and Richard Buell and various other Unitarian Universalist ministers and Sunday school teachers who were guilty of pedophilia and or rape. But of course they did no such thing. So I sent, follow-up letters of grievance, making these demands. And in 2013, it was a little more than a year later, in the summer, fall of 2013, there was a lead up to an election of a new UUA moderator. That's basically the chairman of the board of the Unitarian Universalist Association. And one of the people running for moderator was James C. Key, who I like to refer to as James See No Evil Key, also known as Jim Key. And he was being backed by Annabelle Leeserson and other people from UU Safety Net because they believed that Jim Key would deal responsibly with Unitarian Universalism's clergy abuse problem. So I was actually put in touch with Jim Key by Annabelle Leeserson. She hoped that Jim Key would deal responsibly with the issues that I am concerned with. And I'm concerned with all clergy abuse, but I'm also obviously concerned with the specific issues that affect me personally. And I was concerned about the cover-up and denial, that this had to be responsibly addressed. And I was obviously concerned about the fact that I'd been falsely accused of blasphemous libel, and the Unitarian Universalist Association was stubbornly refusing to withdraw that false accusation and apologize for it and tell the truth. So I had some email exchanges with Jim Key about that specific issue, but also the bigger issue of clergy abuse in the Unitarian. I'm protesting against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and also the cover-up and denial of the clergy abuse by the church. And there's other issues as well, but
I was going to say, why that one over?
There's other issues. Well, basically, what it comes down to is I was treated abusively by the former minister here, but not sexually abusive, but verbally, psychologically abusive and so on. I filed a complaint about that, and of course they dismissed it. But in dealing with that, I became aware of the sexual misconduct and how it was badly handled as well. So I added that to the issues. The church, and when I say the church, I mean the larger Unitarian Universalist religious community, they've done some incredibly foolish things to try to silence me. Amongst other things, in June of 2012, the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston, which is sort of like the head office of Unitarian Universalism, hired a Montreal lawyer to falsely accuse me of violating Canada's blasphemy law in legal bullying that was intended to hide pedophilia and rape. So that's pretty serious.
Let me see what you have on the other side.
It relates to that perversion of justice and also other perversion of justice.
So
you can take a photo or two if you want.
Truthfully, do you think that maybe people walking by might just think you're some nutcase?
Oh, I'm sure some do, and I'm sure the Unitarians try to promote that as much as they can. In fact, I know that they try to promote that, but anyone who bothers to do some research will discover the truth like you're doing now. Anyone who wants to check what I'm saying can just Google the appropriate keywords and they'll find the evidence and so on backing up what I'm saying here. Basically I'll tell you though, in terms of the public who are not Unitarians and who bother to talk with me, I'd say 8 or 9 out of 10 are supportive. It's only like 1 or 2 out of 10 that dismiss it.
It's not even about it's not that I wouldn't be supportive, it's just that I don't see what this will accomplish.
Well, put it this way, if nothing else, it gets the issue out there. And the way I see it too, is it gets the whole clergy abuse issue out there, like not just the Unitarians,
but all the other
well, exactly. I can only be in one place at one time. The Catholics want to protest, and some of them do, they can, you know, and they should, as far as I'm concerned. I'd like to see more people protesting this and other issues with the church.
Anybody come outside and tell you that you're full of it, or what?
Oh, of course, and they physically assault me. They call the police on me regularly.
What that says on the other side?
A church that spits in God's. That's referring to the psychological abuse and intolerance that I'm talking about. It actually references a headline of a Montreal Mirror news report about my protest at the beginning. That the headline of the Montreal Mirror news report was "spitting in God's eye." I didn't choose those words.
So how long have you been protesting?
I'm coming up for my 20th anniversary. It's my alternative spiritual practice, as one Unitarian Universalist minister says. So, there's huge amounts of psychological denial, willful ignorance, and they're more interested in trying to suppress the protest than deal with the issues. But it's just my way of going to church on Sundays.
All right, well, good luck.
Nice talking to you.
What's your name?
My name's Rob and Edgar. So if you search Rob and Edgar in Unitarian, you'll find all kinds of stuff.
There, eh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Right,
nice talking. And feel free to do whatever you want with those photos. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
The more people see them, the better.
Okay. Maybe I should take a few more.
Oh, feel free. Just a second. I'm going to. Actually, would you like to take one with the blasphemous libel issue? Because that's a serious issue.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just hold those up for you. Because that's just crazy, you know, like, you know, it's just insane to accuse someone of blasphemy in an effort to hide, just a second. So we got this correct here, yep.
Okay. Yeah, so they accused you of blasphemy.
Yeah. Well, it's actually in the criminal code. It carries a 2-year jail sentence if you're convicted.
Yeah, but, okay. Listen to this.
Right.
Okay, so you're doing this.
Right.
And you're getting in trouble for it.
Right.
But the guy with the Nazi flag on top of this building,
right.
he's going to get away with it.
It depends. If they catch him, he might be possibly...
Not really? They'll say freedom of speech.
Yeah, well, I'm saying freedom of speech too.
Yeah, if you can't do this, why should he be allowed to
Exactly.
do that?
No, the church is abusing the law more than one time. They look for these obscure, ridiculous laws. In December of 2000, so like about